Welcome back to the Wizard Shop. Today we're going to talk about some tips on buying used cars. We're also going to do Buick, buy this, not that. Welcome back, guys. You guys caught me on the way to the gym. It's the weekend. I thought we'd stop by and get this film knocked out and give you some helpful hints on buying used cars and talk about Buicks. You guys have been wanting to know about Buicks. You see some different clothing on today. Like I said, I'm headed to the gym. A lot of people have said, Car Wizard must be on a hunger strike. No, I'm not on a hunger strike. I've been going to the gym 6 or 7 months now, lifting heavy weights. And it's really paying off, so I'm really enjoying it. The first thing I want to go over before we get into the Buick, buy this, not that, is the actual tips on buying a used car. And this can be for any car. It could be a Ford Pinto or a Lamborghini Murcielago, whatever it is. These tips will help you. I personally have been along with people to help them buy a car or look at a car, and I kind of just let them take the lead until I see something wrong or something that's not right, and then I'll kind of jump in and help them out. And it's amazing that the common person, when they go to buy a car or sell a car even, they're completely clueless. They don't even understand the process of how it works. So I'll help you guys out with that real quick, and then we'll jump into the Buicks. The first thing, for me anyway, is the title condition. Is it clear? Is it clean? Does it have any liens against it? Is it in the possession of the buyer? It's my personal motto, no title, no deal. I will walk out on you. If you don't have the title, I'm gone. So I've been through this scenario with people already, and one of the things I want to tell you guys is do not hand any cash over until you first see the title with your own eyes and look at it and make sure no one else has signed it, no funny business is going on, that it's clear, there's nothing stated on the like liens, so-and-so bank has a lien against this car or whatever. You don't want to deal with that. You'll be months and months. Another thing you want to check on the title is to make sure it doesn't say non-highway use or salvage, or for some reason in the past the person has put it as that type of a title because they no longer drive the vehicle. You could be in for a world of hurt. If you just handed them the thousands of dollars of cash and now you have this title and they're like, oh, sorry. Make sure you have the title squared away. The next thing is service records. And there's many times when you go to buy a vehicle, the person kind of tells you a little bit about the service records. But if you just open their glove box, there's probably a lot of it in there. Oil changes, brake jobs, a windshield replacement, or whatever that might have happened to this car. It very likely could be from 2 owners ago. And the guy has never even looked in there. He just says, yeah, there's a bunch of papers in there. But if you go through those papers, you'll find out a lot about the car. Also check for an oil change sticker in the corner, or if they've done their own oil changes, have they been keeping track of it? When was the last time it was changed? What kind of oil did you use? Yada, 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 that kind of thing. The next thing you want to check is the date on the title, which is the length of ownership. If it says that this person that you're talking to bought it a month ago, why are they selling it so fast? Why are they only owned it for a month and now they have you standing in front of them wanting to buy it? What's going on here? What's the story? You need to get to the bottom of the story. Maybe they bought it and they didn't like the car. Maybe they bought it and their daughter or son didn't like the car. Or it might have a blown head gasket and they're going to dump it on you. You don't exactly know what the story is. You need to get to the bottom of that before you start even looking at the car. And that also brings up what I just said. Why are they selling it? Whether they've owned it for 10 years or 2 months. Why are they selling it? Is it because they don't drive it anymore? Is it because it doesn't get as good gas mileage as they hoped? Or is the transmission slipping? What's wrong with it? Why are they selling it? What's the reason behind it? You need to discover that. Another thing, when you go to look under the hood, make sure nothing's been tampered with. Make sure everything looks stock. I've personally looked at cars before I open the hood, and there's some kind of wiring that's been damaged, and they've repaired it with house wiring. I'm talking about 14-2 Romex that you see in the walls of your house that's shielded 2-wire solid core wiring. They use that to fix their car. If you see something like that under the hood, you can be rest assured the rest of the car is a scenario just like that. Same scenario all over the place. You want to walk away from that. So make sure everything looks stock like it's supposed to. Modifications. Has this hose been cut and replaced with a piece of garden hose? Check for things that are out of place that don't make sense. Also, as common sense would tell you, look under the car, look for leaks, look on the oil pans, both the transmission and the engine. Are they coated in oil? Is there antifreeze leaking? Check the bottom of the radiator. If it's an older car, like this one, push on the floor pans on the rear and front where anybody would sit and see if it goes crunch, crunch, or actually feels like it's giving. Make sure the floor pans are in good shape. As far as body damage is concerned, the average person is not going to be able to tell a whole lot. But look at to see if two different colors of paint, they don't exactly match. One's brighter or darker than the other. There may be a reason behind it. Maybe there's been an accident. Check for on the bottoms of all the body panels, is it bumpy or ripply like Bondo? Some rust has been repaired or something like that. Also check on it, especially on an older car, this chrome stuff. These little chrome trim pieces that are not missing. Where are you going to find that at? You're not going to go to AutoZone or O'Reilly's or your favorite store, whatever store you use. You're not going to find that there. This type of stuff, if you do find it, $75 for that one, $150 for that one, $300 for that one. It can add up fast. Make sure all those little pieces are there. You would never think that's a big deal. And maybe for you it's not. But that's something I definitely check. Another thing is when you walk up and the seller starts piping off about, oh yeah, I got a stage 3 clutch, I got this, I got that, I got a tune on this thing, we're talking 500 at the wheels. That's when you need to walk away. That thing is so highly modified. Unless that's what you're looking for, you're asking for disaster to strike. The engine is probably pushed beyond its limits. The transmission probably doesn't have long left because it's been pushed so hard. The clutch. So when I've been through that scenario before, and they start listing all this different things, they've modded it, and stage 3 this and stage 3 that, and that's when I look them right in the eye and I say, we're done. No thanks. And I walk away. There's no way I want a car like that. So those are just some tips to help you guys when you go to look at a used car. We're talking about buy this, not that. Very likely you are in the process of buying a car. And those are tips that can help you along the way. I've been through all the pitfalls. I've made all the mistakes. I've seen other people make the mistakes. You have to trust me on this, guys. So, enough about the process of buying the car. Let's do a Buick buy this, not that. And one of the reasons why I added a little bit to the top of this video is because in the Buick segment, they really specialize in a certain group of cars. Tiny little cars like a Chevy Spark or Ford Focus. Buick doesn't have anything like that in the small car segment. Maybe back in the 70s they had little cars, but those cars aren't even worth talking about. You guys probably aren't even looking for those. So the small car segment for Buick, I'm going to skip over that. Now if you guys have some, say, hey, wait a minute, Wizard, this or that might have been a good car. Let's hear about it in the comments. Maybe you guys can tell me about it. But I'm going to skip over to small cars. I searched and searched. I can't even think off the top of my head anything that would be worth it. We're skipping right to the medium-sized cars. The one to buy in the medium segment is 97 to 2004 Buick Regal. The only engine that's offered in these is, in my opinion, the best engine ever made, is the Buick 3.8. For the value, for the cost, for the longevity of the engine, they're awesome. There's a video I've done on that if you guys want to check it out. It's a Buick LeSabre I did. It goes all through the different things about the 3.8. I'm a big fan. This car is going to be a little bit more luxurious than the car I'm about to recommend for not to buy. It's going to be a little bit more well appointed. It's going to have leather seats. It's going to have nicer interior. It's going to ride better, more features. Because of the engine that it has, it's going to be a very long life car. It's going to ride better, look better. It's really the better buy. So in the medium car segment, the Buick Regal is really, in those years I just mentioned, is the car to buy. The one not to buy is 97 to 05 Buick Century. These cars are plain Jane. I mean plain Jane. It's like a radio and a button, a couple of buttons and a steering wheel and some cloth seats. There's really not a whole lot to it. And the rain doesn't really like it either, apparently. It's applauding. It's applause, guys, because I was right. Apologize for the rain. It's just off and on today. It's kind of loud in a metal building. But as I said, this is a very basic, bare bones car. It was not meant to appeal to luxury car buyers. It's a decent car. It's mid-size. And it probably would be a good car except for the 3.1 liter V6 that they're offered with, which is the only option. They have intake gaskets that leak, and it leaks coolant right into the engine. I have personally repaired probably 20 of these. It's so common. It's just such a bad design. When this coolant starts leaking into the oil, you could get by for a little bit. It's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but finally, you know, people with this type of a car, they just keep driving it and driving it and driving it, and it locks up the engine. This isn't a silly little problem. It's like, oh, it's not a big deal. I can let that go. The reason why I'm saying not to buy this car is specifically for that problem. You may not catch it. You may not know that it's doing it if you're not very cognizant of engine repairs or things of that nature, and it locks up your motor. It's going to cost more than the car's worth to fix. It's definitely not worth it. And really, there's nothing remarkable about it. It's a very, very boring car. I recommend not to buy that in the mid-segment. Now we're going to move on to the large car segment, the big guys, the big boys. The one I recommend to buy is a 97 to 05 Buick Park Avenue. These cars are huge. They ride like a cloud. They look really good. Very nice looking cars, especially the Ultras, the supercharged 3.8 V6. But that's the key thing here. 3.8 V6. It's one of the best motors, like I said, it's one of the best motors made. That really makes this an excellent car. It rides good, it gets decent mileage, it looks great, and the engine is a 5-star engine. These are not expensive to buy, nor are they expensive to maintain. These are one of those cars that they have parts and parts and parts for. There, you go to the parts store, I need a water pump for a Buick 3.8. They'll say, yeah, I've got 13 of them on the shelf. It's just really a good car to maintain. If you're not in the budget range of a Toyota or a Honda, and you're a little bit below that, check out a Park Avenue, even a LeSabre. But really, the Park Avenue is an awesome car. It's Car Wizard approved. I give my thumbs up on that car. The one not to buy is 2005 to 2009 Buick LaCrosse. These have the engine that I go, bad. It's a 3.6 V6. In previous videos, you guys have heard me rant and rave about how horrible these are with timing chain problems. The engine has to come out, thousands of dollars of repair, and it's not just a couple of these going bad. It's probably 30 to 40% of them. It's really, really that bad. They're not very pleasing to look at. I think personally they look hideous. I wouldn't be seen in one. And the engine really is the nail in the coffin that kills it. But here's another nail in the coffin. I did some research on this. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. Out of 5 stars for safety, this car gets 1. 1 star. They said in the article that I read, it is very likely, highly likely, you will be seriously injured in a wreck in this car, in the Buick LaCrosse 05 to 09. So safety, thumbs down. The engine, thumbs down. Don't buy it, guys. Don't do it. Now we're going to move to the SUV category. Buick does have some SUVs. And really, Buick's done really good on the market. Their cars don't look like grandpa cars or grandma cars anymore. They're more appealing to the younger generations. I think they've done really well with the styling and the features and things on their newer cars to keep the sales rolling. Because millennials don't want a grandma car. They just don't. So now we're going to move to SUV category. The one to buy is 2004 to 2007 Buick Rainier. These SUVs in this year range actually look pretty decent. It looks better, way better than the one I'm going to recommend not to buy, and you'll hear about that here in a minute. This doesn't have the horrible 3.6 V6. It has a 4.2 inline Vortec 6-cylinder. And these cars can be kind of hard to work on, but they're fairly reliable, good power. I wouldn't knock this engine and give it thumbs down. It's a decent engine. And what's really cool about the Buick Rainier in these years, especially the later years, you can get it with a 5.3 LS-based Vortec engine. Lots of power. That would be awesome. If I was going to have one of these cars, I personally would look for one of the V8 models. That's the one I recommend to buy in the SUV category. The one not to buy is 2002 to 2007 Buick Rendezvous. This has the engine, 3.6 V6, junk, thumbs down, absolute junk. And these cars are hideous. The chassis, the frame, everything is based off of the Pontiac Aztek. And the Aztek's kind of coming back again. People are thinking, oh, it's not so bad. It's actually kind of trendy, kind of cool. And I can see that. But the Rendezvous doesn't have a chance in hell, a snowball's chance in hell. It looks horrible, guys. It looks really bad. In fact, every one that I've seen come into the shop is horribly abused. Whoever owns them, they don't even get respect out of the owners. No one respects these cars. They run them clear into the ground and then they go to the salvage yard. I just think you guys should run away from a Buick Rendezvous. Don't do it. Now we move to the sports car category, and I'm only going to recommend one car. I'm not going to not recommend any other, because the only other sports car that Buick makes that I can think of is a Grand National. And I'm not going to recommend not to buy that because it's an awesome car. So the one that's kind of more modern than a Grand National, the one I'm going to recommend to buy is 88 to 91 Buick Reatta. And these have the really awesome 3.8 V6. Bulletproof. And it's a little bitty car. 220, 240 horsepower in a little car. It flies. They're fast. They have a lot of cool features that were ahead of its time. They look really cool. The design, they put a lot of time and effort into it. And it actually had a green screen CRT touch screen, climate control and engine analysis, all the different things on it. It was the old green screen, like an Apple IIe. It's like, wow, that's really cool back then. It's still cool today. I've worked on several of these. Hoovy has been through, he has an affinity for these cars. He's had several of them over and over and over again. Every time I've worked on them, I can tell they're built well, they're stylish, they got the 3.8 V6, they're fast, they're actually very fast. They're really a cool sports car. It's a two-door coupe, and in that category, sports car, I give thumbs up for the 88 to 91 Buick Reatta. So I hope you guys have gained some insight and some knowledge on the process to buy a car, and I hope I've helped you in the Buick realm of cars not to buy and ones to buy. That one was a little bit more difficult. There's some segments that they don't even offer anything, but that's the best I could do. There's the information. I hope you guys can use it. I'm wearing my Car Wizard shirt today, and we have those for sale. We also have any of the tools that I use. If you're interested to know what kind of tools I use, check the Amazon affiliates link below. They're all for sale there. We also, like the shirt, we have hoodies, we have coffee mugs, and we have decals, stickers. So we got many more cool videos to come. I'm glad you guys could follow along today. I got to head to the gym. I've gone down 3 pant sizes, guys. I'm hoping to go a couple more. So off to the gym I go. Thanks for watching.